Hello, everybody. It is me, Leah.
And Laura. Hello.
We are here with another episode of Hunt a Killer.
Ha ha ha.
Yes, so
Yes, so
we unboxed for you last week. You saw what was in our box. We have throughout the week been studying, inspecting the clues, and this is what we've come up with. Now, Laura was concerned that we might have spoilers in this, which we may, but we don't know if we do because we don't know if we're right or wrong.
we don't really know anything but what we've theorized.
That's
Is
right.
that a word?
Theorized.
I mean, upon
Inspection.
our first inspection, of course, we noticed that the name of this season is called The Awakening, and we are on episode 1.
I
Okay.
figured that out by reading the box.
And as you know, we have found a few things in here. We found numbers on a newspaper article.
Yes.
So on this newspaper article, we found these numbers. Perhaps these numbers
Led us to words.
led us to words. Now, there's a certain code to this thing. I don't know that we should tell.
Well, yes, we should.
All right. So, for instance, the first thing was 3/4. So we went down 3 lines and then over 4 words, and then we found
So we pulled all the letters
yes.
and we came up. See, we say this, but we don't know if we're right.
Well, what we found was this sentence. I have already confirmed we will be bodies of merit and diligence. Okay.
It makes
Some sort of
sense.
sense.
but not to us.
But bodies of merit and diligence.
So
That was this article.
That's
Body found on Weiss Island. The body of a woman was discovered washed ashore Weiss Island by recreational boaters yesterday evening. Mind you, this article was written in September 30th, 1967. So he's sending us, an article from the past. I thought she might have been some woman who maybe got lost or swam there and fell asleep, said Daniel Smith, the boater who informed the authorities. Jane Doe was discovered without any form of identification. According to this reporter's police source, however, there was a mark on her wrist that suggested she could have been wearing some kind of bracelet. The woman, though she was clothed in a thin gown, also had several stab wounds.
now, why would she be out for a swim?
Why
Or
would she be out?
boating.
Yeah, boating
In a thin gown.
in a thin gown. Though she was clothed in a thin gown, also had several stab wounds, bruisings, and a Y incision. That type of incision is the same made during an autopsy. What? Okay, now they think she was out. She was out in a thin gown. What?
So the person that murdered her may be a doctor.
Right. And brought her there, dumped her in the water, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Okay. According to the medical examiner's office, the woman had been dead at least 36 hours prior to her discovery on the small island in the Susquehanna River.
Which we did some research. Weiss Island and the Susquehanna River, which travels through several states. However, Weiss Island is in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
All right.
So,
Police have said they will be conducting an internal review of their policies regarding cadavers. The word around the office is that we think this was some Jane Doe who we were already investigating, or that maybe the investigation's already done, said the source.
So they think somebody took her out of the morgue?
Perhaps. Wait. The word around the office is that we think this was some Jane Doe who we're already investigating, or that maybe the investigation's already done, said the source. Now, we have to make sure that if we transport bodies for research or whatever it is they do, that we do it in a secure way. In other words, we don't want anybody to steal a cadaver.
Some willy-nilly person taking a cadaver.
Right.
That's already had an autopsy.
We definitely don't want this happening again. Calls to nearby hospitals confirmed that no patients had gone missing in the past week. A worker at one institution, the O'Brien Asylum, reached out to this reporter to highlight a rumor there that a woman was murdered. So, a woman was murdered at the O'Brien Asylum.
Okay.
All right?
Which is in, I think we said that same area in Pennsylvania.
Well, the O'Brien is at the Rose, yes. Yeah, it's O'Brien Asylum is in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on, what else did
A
we
worker
find?
at one institution, the O'Brien Asylum, the informant remained anonymous, and a follow-up call to the asylum revealed that there was an unauthorized call made from inside one of the patient common areas. Somebody made a phone call from inside the asylum. Given the nature of the institution, it does not seem likely that a phone call carried any merit. It appears that the larger story here is not the fate of Jane Doe, but rather the diligence of our local safety and health institutions. There was this card with a constellation on it, right? Upon further looking, Leah types in, right here it says Cygnus, you know, it's got Cygnus quadrant, it's got, you know, Cephirus, whatever.
I just kind of started at the top.
She started at the top, typed in Cygnus, and what did you find?
It's a constellation, also known as
The
Swan.
The Swan. The Swan.
So, we've got that.
How are those things
We've
related?
got that. Okay.
Could it be that he wants to be known as the Swan? Could it be he's labeled somebody the Swan?
We don't know.
We don't know. All right.
We don't know.
We don't
people.
know.
We're on episode 1, which
Right.
is frustrating because we're not going to know everything. There's going to be missing pieces. So, there was also an article photocopied
Yes.
about sinkholes.
Yes.
Sinkhole highlights challenges of preventing, detecting infrastructure failings. So,
Right.
and there are things blacked out, words,
Like, yeah, like the
certain words and things blacked out. So, I went on the internet and I typed in
the first words in the article.
right,
Then it
and I
came-
came up with the real article from the Baltimore Sun.
Baltimore Sun, yes.
Yes. And so we then deciphered the words that had been blacked out.
Yes, and we wrote them all down.
And Laura has those.
But
These are
with
the words that will tell you. We're not going to read the whole thing. We'll read you the words that are blacked out.
But there are things that kind of go along with what we read in his actual letter to us.
yes.
So the words were Scott, his name, Baltimore Sun, Mulberry Street was mentioned many times,
And blacked out.
and blacked out every time it was blacked out. Scott, Green, Paca, York Road, Cockeysville, Center Street, Mount Vernon, Kurt Kocher, and then here's a sentence that came up within it. Then the leaky pipe carries more water. And then it says, "Coacher, coacher," again. And
which correlates, he says, the same quote in his letter to us.
Also, it says in his letter to us, which is next in here, that we discovered words that made a sentence. Breaks and leaks are more likely to show depression. And then, yes, we got Adrian Barnes, to last decades. So that he's referring now to something in the past, right? Because he just wrote this letter to us. Mulberry Street again, and perhaps a century. So I'm thinking to last decades and perhaps a century. But something about Mulberry Street.
There's a lot of locations that are blacked out.
Which there's sinkholes in this article.
Yes.
That, you know, this article is from when? It is written
2016.
This article is, yeah, 2016.
So there's names that are blacked out and locations.
And Barnes is the last one. Wait, so we found something about Scott Dance.
Yes.
He wrote an article about the
about the constellation Cygnus or something.
Yes.
Yes.
So what does that mean?
We don't know. There's so many things, and we just can't put it together yet.
Right.
Now, with this, when you receive your package, you get inspector notes on the website.
It says inspected by RS, and then there's a package number on the bottom.
The things that we learned from that were that there were no, in the medication cup, it said medication cup.
And there's no residue or anything, and they marked that off. They actually went through everything that this gentleman is sending us.
Right. They kept referring to him as the patient.
Mm-hmm.
So we do know indeed he is a patient, that this is a medication cup. We don't know why he sent it to us, but he did.
It could be just to let us know he's in a hospital.
Yes.
We don't know.
We don't know, since he can't tell us. Probably he's giving us clues.
Mm-hmm.
So also that the wire that we found taped to the back.
Did you know we found a wire
Yes.
though? Did we talk about that? Because Alex found that afterwards. We thought this was empty.
That's right.
We thought
did.
something
we
was
don't
poked.
think you know that
Yeah,
yet.
we were something was poked in here and taken out. Well, my son came afterwards and was helping us look things, and he actually took off the little tape
and found a wire.
And there's a little wire. It's a nylon wire.
Yes.
Just like a guitar string or some sort of a fiber optic kind of wire.
Yes.
So we didn't know what that was, but when we looked at the inspector notes, one of the notes was about this wire.
Yes, they said, well, there was a wire, and that they were going to check the locks on the music room.
Yeah.
Which made us think that's some sort of instrument string.
And yes, why would he have sent us this little piece of wire? We don't know. Little nylon wire.
A little nylon wire.
I don't know.
Also in the inspector notes, it said that he was on a sharps restriction.
He couldn't have any utensils.
Sharp objects.
Which is why
he typewrites.
He typewrites to us rather
Although
than
if
using...
you took a typewriter apart, people, there'd be plenty of sharp parts. Just saying.
And it's an actual typewriter. I mean, it is actually typewritten.
So it said that he, you know, that there was the picture of the constellations. They didn't know why there was, but he had made it, the card, in arts and crafts, or copied it in the library and then did some arts and crafts with it.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't much. I mean, we did learn that he was a confirmation that he is a patient in some sort of, we're guessing, institution.
Yeah.
So that's all we know.
And you know, they talk about a body of a woman, and you know, the body of that woman. I mean, how does she relate to anything? We don't know. How does any of these things relate? Are we missing something so far in amongst all this stuff?
It's hard to tell because it's 8 episodes. It's going to build on itself.
Dig deep enough?
It's hard to tell. I mean, we're like, do we keep digging? You know, do we keep And it was difficult because as we were Googling things, because it says to go and use real world tools to do this, and as you do it, you kind of run across a lot of spoilers.
Yes,
So you had to be
very
careful,
careful, yes.
not to read something you didn't want to read. So we don't know if we should keep poring over the same thing.
But I know there's more clues. Are we supposed to figure out who he killed? Did he go crazy because of it, and he doesn't? Nobody knows he's a killer.
Is he a serial killer?
You know, I think he's a serial killer. I don't know. But who is the person? Is this body that was washed up on the Susquehanna River onto the island there?
They don't even know if she's really a missing person,
she was autopsied and stolen and dumped.
We don't know.
We'll
we
find
have
out.
to wait for the next clue.
Yeah.
Until then, do you like our little jaunty hats and
our
little furs, faux furs?
We feel quite noir.
We feel very noir.
Film noir.
Yes. Anyway, you guys, if we come up with anything else as we're looking throughout the week, we'll come back with that. If not, we'll see you when we get the next box.
Yeah, maybe, that's if we do find something important, we'll come back and tell you before the next box.
We'll keep hunting. All right, you guys. Love you. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.